There comes a moment in every person's life when they quietly sit alone and ask themselves a question that nobody else can answer. A question that echoes through the silence. A question that keeps them awake at night. A question that follows them into every new year, every birthday, every missed opportunity. Why am I not where I want to be? Have you ever asked yourself that? Have you ever looked around and seen people moving forward while you feel stuck in the same place? Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract opportunities, confidence, growth, success, and progress while others remain trapped in cycles that never seem to change? Let me tell you something. The answer is not talent. It is not luck. It is not intelligence. And it is certainly not some secret available only to a chosen few. The answer is habits, tiny habits, invisible habits, habits so small that most people ignore them. Yet those same habits are quietly building someone's future every single day. And here is the shocking truth. Your life today is not the result of what you did yesterday. It is the result of what you repeatedly did for months and years. Success is rarely one giant event. Failure is rarely one giant mistake. Most lives are built one day at a time, one decision at a time, one habit at a time. Think about this for a moment. A plane leaving New York and changing its direction by only a few degrees will eventually land in an entirely different city. Just a few degrees. Not hundreds, not thousands, just a few. And that is exactly how life works. Small actions, small choices, small disciplines, repeated long enough to create massive differences. I learned something years ago. People dramatically overestimate what they can accomplish in one day, but they massively underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 days of complete focus. 10 days. That is all I am asking from you. Not 10 years, not 10 months, not even 10 weeks. Just 10 days. Because if you can prove to yourself that you can change your habits for 10 days, you begin proving something even more important. You begin proving that you can trust yourself. And trust in yourself is where transformation begins. Because many people don't have a motivation problem. They have a self-trust problem. They have made promises to themselves so many times and broken those promises so many times that they no longer believe their own words. They say they will wake up early. They don't. They say they will start exercising. They don't. They say they will stop procrastinating. They don't. And eventually, the mind starts keeping score. The mind starts saying, why should I believe you now? Why should I believe this attempt is different? Why should I believe you'll actually follow through? That loss of self-trust becomes a prison. And many people spend years trapped inside it. But 10 days can begin changing everything, because 10 days of keeping promises to yourself starts rebuilding your confidence brick by brick. Now let me share the first habit, a habit that sounds simple, a habit so simple that many people will dismiss it. And that is exactly why it is so powerful. Wake up 1 hour earlier than you normally do. Now, before you roll your eyes and say you've heard this before, listen carefully. This is not about waking up early because the successful people wake up early. That is not the lesson. The lesson is control. Most people begin their day reacting. The alarm rings. They hit snooze. They check social media. They check messages. They react to notifications. They react to demands. They react to problems. And before they know it, the world has already taken control of their attention. The day owns them. They do not own the day. When you wake up earlier, something extraordinary happens. You create space. Space to think. Space to plan. Space to breathe. Space to become intentional. And intentional people create intentional lives. Years ago, I met a man working 2 jobs. He was exhausted, overweight, financially stressed, constantly overwhelmed. Every excuse in the world could have justified his circumstances. But he made one decision. He began waking up 1 hour earlier, not to work harder, not to suffer more, but to invest in himself. For that 1 hour, he read books, listened to educational programs, worked on personal development, studied skills, learned ideas. At first, nothing happened. One day passed, then another, then another. The results were invisible. But after months, the invisible became visible. His thinking changed, his confidence changed, his communication changed, his opportunities changed, and eventually his entire life changed, because the hour changed the man, and the man changed his future. Here's what most people don't understand. Success rarely arrives when you need it. Success arrives when you've prepared for it. Opportunity has a strange habit. It often shows up after preparation, not before. And every morning you choose growth over comfort. You are preparing for opportunities that have not yet arrived. The second habit is equally powerful. For 10 days, eliminate negative self-talk. Now that sounds easy until you actually try it, because most people have no idea how often they attack themselves. They wake up criticizing themselves. They look in the mirror criticizing themselves. They compare themselves to others. They replay failures. They repeat limiting beliefs. And they do it so often that it feels normal. Imagine having a friend who spoke to you the way many people speak to themselves. You would never spend time with that person. Yet many people carry that voice inside their heads 24 hours a day. Think about that. The most influential voice in your life is the voice you hear every day, your own. And if that voice constantly tells you that you're behind, incapable, unlucky, inadequate, or destined to fail, eventually your behavior starts matching those beliefs, because beliefs create actions. Success create habits. Habits create results. For 10 days, catch every negative thought. Not some of them, all of them, and replace them when the mind says, I can't. Replace it when the mind says, I'm not good enough. Replace it when the mind says, people like me never succeed. Replace it, not because positive thinking is magic, but because thoughts become directions, and directions become destinations. I remember hearing a mentor say something that changed my perspective forever. He said, you cannot consistently outperform the image you have of yourself. Think about that. If deep down you see yourself as weak, you will unconsciously act weak. If deep down you see yourself as average, you will unconsciously settle for average. If deep down you see yourself as capable, resilient, disciplined, and valuable, your actions begin aligning with that identity. The third habit is one that separates dreamers from achievers. Every day for 10 days, do one difficult thing before noon, one difficult thing, one uncomfortable thing, one thing you've been avoiding. One thing that requires discipline, because comfort is seductive. Comfort whispers. Comfort says, do it tomorrow, rest a little longer, start next week, wait until you feel ready. And the tragedy is that millions of people spend entire lifetimes listening to comfort. Meanwhile, their dreams remain trapped behind action they never take. Let me tell you a truth that changed my life. Confidence does not come before action. Confidence comes from action. Most people are waiting to feel confident before they act, but confidence is earned through keeping commitments. It is built through movement. It is created through evidence. Every time you do something difficult, you send a message to yourself, a powerful message, a message that says, I can do hard things. And that message becomes stronger every day. Imagine two people standing at the same starting line. One chooses comfort every day. The other chooses one difficult action every day. At first, they look identical. After 10 days, the difference seems small. After 10 months, the difference becomes obvious. After 10 years, they appear to be living completely different lives. That is the compound effect. Tiny actions, massive consequences. And when you truly understand this principle, you stop looking for dramatic overnight transformations. You start respecting the power of daily decisions. You start realizing that every action is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Every decision matters. Every choice counts. Every habit is writing part of your future story. And the fourth habit, this one might be the most overlooked habit in modern society. For 10 days, spend at least 30 minutes in complete silence with your thoughts. Because something remarkable happens when a person finally stops running from themselves. And most people today are running constantly, running into noise, running into entertainment, running into distractions, running into endless scrolling, running into anything that prevents them from facing what is really happening inside, running into anything that prevents them from facing what is really happening inside, because silence reveals things. Silence reveals your fears. Silence reveals your excuses. Silence reveals the dreams you have been ignoring, and that is exactly why so many people avoid it. They are afraid of meeting themselves. They are afraid of sitting alone with their own thoughts because deep inside they know there are conversations they have been avoiding for years. The conversation about the life they said they wanted but never worked for. The conversation about the promises they made but never kept. The conversation about the person they know they could become but keep delaying. Let me tell you something. The person who can sit with themselves, reflect, learn, and adjust has a tremendous advantage in life. Because growth requires awareness. You cannot improve what you refuse to see. A person who never reflects keeps repeating the same patterns. They repeat the same mistakes. They choose the same distractions. They follow the same excuses. And then they wonder why the results never change. But a person who takes time to look inward begins to discover something powerful. They begin to understand themselves. They begin to recognize their triggers. They begin to see where their time disappears. They begin to identify the habits that are stealing their future. Think about this for a moment. A farmer does not plant seeds randomly and hope for a harvest. A farmer studies the soil. A farmer understands seasons. A farmer prepares the ground. A farmer knows that what happens beneath the surface determines what eventually appears above the surface. Your mind is your soil. Your habits are your seeds. Your results are your harvest. And every single day, whether you realize it or not, you are planting something. You are either planting discipline or planting regret. You are planting growth or planting comfort. You are planting courage or planting fear. The question is not whether you are planting. The question is what you are planting. The fifth habit is perhaps the one that brings everything together. For 10 days, keep a promise to yourself every single day. A small promise. A simple promise. But keep it, because the foundation of greatness is not built on massive achievements. It is built on personal integrity. Integrity means your actions match your words. It means when you say you will do something, you do it. Not because someone is watching, not because someone is forcing you, but because you respect yourself enough to honor your own commitment. Here is what most people don't understand. The biggest battle in life is not against other people. The biggest battle is against the part of yourself that wants the easy path, the part that wants comfort without growth, the part that wants success without sacrifice, the part that wants rewards without responsibility. Everyone wants the mountain view. Few people want to climb the mountain. Everyone wants the harvest. Few people want to spend seasons planting. Everyone wants the results. Few people want to repeat the boring disciplines that create those results. But greatness is not created in moments of excitement. Greatness is created in moments when nobody is watching, when nobody is applauding, when nobody knows what you are doing. That is where character is built. That is where your future is shaped. I want you to understand something very important. You are always training yourself. Every choice is training. Every repetition is training. Every habit is training. When you choose to delay important work, you are training yourself to delay. When you choose distraction over learning, you are training yourself to escape. When you choose discipline over comfort, you are training yourself to become stronger. Your brain is constantly learning from your behavior. It is constantly receiving instructions from your actions. And eventually, your actions become your identity. A person who reads every day becomes a reader. A person who exercises every day becomes someone who values health. A person who keeps commitments becomes someone who trusts themselves. Identity is not created by what you say. Identity is created by what you repeatedly do. Years ago, I heard a story about a young man who wanted to completely change his life. He had no special advantages, no wealthy background, no powerful connections, no perfect circumstances. But he had one thing, a decision. He decided that for the next 10 days, he would stop waiting for motivation and start practicing discipline. Every morning he wrote his goals. Every day he learned something new. Every evening he reviewed his actions. At first, nothing looked different. His bank account was the same. His circumstances were the same. His challenges were still there. But something inside him was changing. And that internal change was the beginning of everything. Because before your external world changes, your internal world must change. The person you become creates the life you experience, not the other way around. Many people believe they need a better life to become a better person. But successful people understand they need to become a better person to create a better life. The transformation begins within. Your thoughts create your choices. Your choices create your habits. Your habits create your character. Your character creates your destiny. This is why small daily improvements matter so much. People underestimate small beginnings. They think a small action is meaningless. But the greatest achievements in history started with something small. A first step, a first page, a first attempt, a first uncomfortable decision. Nobody becomes extraordinary overnight. They become extraordinary through ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary consistency. Look at a tree. Nobody sees the roots growing. Nobody celebrates the underground work. Nobody takes pictures of the roots. But those invisible roots are what allow the tree to stand tall during storms. Your discipline is your root system. Your habits are your roots. And when storms come, when challenges come, when life tests you, you will discover whether your roots are strong enough. Because life will test everyone. There will be days when you don't feel motivated. Days when progress feels slow. Days when your results do not match your effort. And that is where most people quit. They mistake a slow season for a failed journey. They mistake silence for rejection. They mistake difficulty for a sign to stop. But difficult seasons are often where the greatest growth happens. A muscle grows because it faces resistance. A diamond forms under pressure. A person develops strength through challenges. The goal is not to create a life without difficulty. The goal is to create yourself into someone who can handle difficulty. That is the difference. Weak habits create weak responses. Strong habits create strong responses. And every day you practice these disciplines, you are preparing yourself for opportunities, responsibilities, and challenges that require a stronger version of you. Now, there is another principle that most people ignore. Your environment matters. A seed planted in poor soil struggles. A seed planted in healthy soil has a greater chance to grow. And you are the same. The people around you influence your thinking. The conversations you listen to influence your beliefs. The information you consume influences your imagination. Be careful what you allow into your mind, because the mind is always accepting something. Every conversation leaves something behind. Every book leaves something behind. Every video leaves something behind. Every person you spend time with leaves something behind. The question is, what are you allowing to shape you? Because you cannot fill your mind with negativity every day and expect positive results. You cannot constantly consume weakness and expect strength. You cannot surround yourself with excuses and expect ambition. Your future deserves protection. Your dreams deserve protection. Your attention deserves protection. Because attention is one of the most valuable resources you have. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. Where your energy goes, your actions follow. And where your actions go consistently, your life begins to move. This is why successful people guard their mornings. They guard their thoughts. They guard their time. They understand that every day is a deposit into the person they are becoming. And when you begin treating your days as valuable investments, instead of empty hours to simply survive, something begins to shift inside you. You stop asking, how can I escape my life? And you start asking, how can I build my life? You stop searching for shortcuts and you start respecting the process, because the process is where the person you need to become is created. Because at the end of the day, your life will not be changed by what you know. Your life will be changed by what you do. Knowledge without action is just potential. Dreams without discipline are just wishes. Goals without commitment are just ideas. The world is full of people who know what they should do. They know they should improve. They know they should work harder. They know they should develop better habits. They know they should stop making excuses. But knowing is not enough. The difference between the person who dreams about success and the person who creates success is one simple thing: execution. The willingness to take action even when it is uncomfortable. The willingness to show up even when nobody is watching. The willingness to continue when the excitement disappears and only discipline remains. So I want you to remember this. You do not need to become a completely different person tomorrow. You do not need to fix your entire life in one day. You do not need to have everything figured out before you begin. You only need to make one better choice today, one better decision, one better habit, one small promise that you refuse to break. Because every great transformation begins with a single moment when a person finally decides, I am no longer going to live beneath my potential. I am no longer going to allow my excuses to control my future. I am no longer going to trade my dreams for temporary comfort. That decision is powerful. That decision is the beginning. 10 days from now, you can either be the same person with the same excuses, the same fears, and the same patterns, or you can be someone who looks back and says, that was the moment I started changing. Remember, nobody is coming to rescue your dreams. Nobody is going to wake up for you. Nobody is going to build your discipline for you. Nobody is going to take your goals seriously until you take them seriously. Your future is built by the choices you make when nobody is forcing you. The person you become tomorrow is watching what you do today. Every morning you wake up, you have another opportunity, another chance, another page, another opportunity to prove to yourself that you are capable of more. Do not underestimate yourself because of your past. Your past is a teacher, not a prison. The mistakes you made were lessons. The failures you experienced were training. The difficult moments you survived were preparing you for a stronger version of yourself. You are not defined by where you started. You are defined by the direction you choose. So start today. Wake up with purpose. Guard your mind. Control your habits. Keep your promises. Do the difficult things. Invest in yourself. Because one day, you will look back and realize that the biggest changes in your life did not happen because of one lucky opportunity. They happened because you finally decided to become consistent. You finally decided to respect your own potential. You finally decided that your future was worth fighting for. And when you build discipline, when you build confidence, when you build the mindset of someone who refuses to quit, you become unstoppable in a way that no outside circumstance can take away from you. The journey will not always be easy. There will be obstacles. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when you question yourself. But remember this. A storm does not destroy a tree with deep roots. Pressure does not break a person who has built inner strength. Challenges do not defeat someone who has trained their mind to keep moving forward. The world does not reward perfection. The world rewards persistence. The person who keeps learning, the person who keeps improving, the person who keeps showing up. That person eventually becomes someone they once only dreamed of becoming. So take these next 10 days seriously. Not because 10 days will magically change everything overnight, but because 10 days can prove something to you. They can prove that you have control. They can prove that you have discipline. They can prove that you are capable of keeping commitments to yourself. And once you discover that power inside yourself, you will never look at yourself the same way again. The future version of you is waiting. The stronger version, the wiser version, the disciplined version, the version who no longer makes excuses. The version who wakes up with purpose and goes to sleep knowing they gave their best. That person is not created someday. That person is created by what you choose today. So make the decision. Take the first step. Build a habit. Keep moving, because your greatest chapter has not been written yet, and the next page begins with the choice you make right now.